Hi folks, Moondog here, and we have a special guest today, as you can see from this format. We have my friend Sasha, who is a little unique. He is a former NCO in the Soviet Army and a good friend of mine, and he saw the video that I posted recently with our mutual friend Travis and I talking about 22, and he just had to chime in because he needed to school us on some correct information about the 22. But before I jump into that, Sasha, tell us a little bit about your background.
Hi, hi everybody. Hi, Tom again. And I was born in Soviet Union a long time ago. Not afraid to say it, 1972. Yes, it was a long time ago. And I grew up in the Soviet Union in Soviet times, and I served in the Soviet Army. I actually served the last year of Soviet Army. So my first year was last year of Soviet Army, and my second year was already non-Soviet Army. But I still took off to Soviet Army, so I
was it called the Russian Army at that point, or what happened?
It was between. It was called however you want. I was actually right. I was actually offered to take an oath to Belarus Army, which I refused. So technically, I never give the oath to Belarus Army. I only have an oath to Soviet Army. But that's what my service. And before my service, I did competitive shooting with 22, and also as an Olympic style bullseye shooting. And also I came to the Olympic style bullseye shooting through biathlon.
Oh yeah, Travis and I were talking about that. We think it's like a really cool sport.
Yes, it is a very cool sport for certain people, and I thought it's going to be for me. It did work well. Let me give you right away a briefing about biathlon. Biathlon, it's a very old sport. It's basically mimicking hunting, and it came from Nordic European countries, skiing and shooting. Until, I might be mistaken here, until 70s, it was done with centerfire rifles. It was a full-size rifles.
When did they switch to 22?
Around 75, right before 98 Olympics.
Oh.
That was already moved because it was I think it was like 303, and then after NATO took 556, they actually switched to 556. And because different country was still competing in Olympic sports, but they did not have a 223, they was allowed to use something equal to that, but we standardized of the sport in I'm pretty much sure between 1975 and 1978 rule was taken to take a 22.
I see.
Right. Talking about Travis was saying, I don't understand how they're missing, because it's basically all about running and then a little bit of gunning. So the whole idea that you run as fast as you can, and doesn't matter how athletic you are, your breath is going to be still off, and you're still thinking about running forward. And biathlon has actually 4 or 5 different types of game, like relay and individual, and several others. A team also run. So you're actually thinking about running much more than shooting. So you can miss very, very easily. That's not a problem. Actually, biathlon start with, if I believe, 100, 200, 300 meters shooting with center fire. So that was really big part shooting. And then shooting part kind of came down to little 22, and it's more about running than shooting. So that's a brief history of biathlon. So it's not that, why they cannot shoot? I can bullseyes all day long. Not at least you're running like crazy around.
I know. I'm sure my aim would be terrible after, trying to run 5,000 meters or whatever the distance is.
Plus, they don't shoot optics. They shoot dioptrical sights, which is 2 circles.
Just the peep sights, right?
It's not a really peep sight. It's considered to be called diopter, because peep sight is a metal sights. So they're basically closing your vision to the peephole. Dioptrical sights, it's a kind of made glass sight, which little bit masking target remains with a little hole where you can see the target exactly. So it's a little different.
Oh yeah, and they have those sort of like white blinders on the other
Yes,
side.
yes. The blinders on the side is basically to not get distracted, and they
Mm-hmm.
don't use it in biathlon because you have to run. So
Right.
the competition shooters, they do use the sights. Some of them protect one eye just to keep open but concentrate on the one, and
Mm-hmm.
some of them have a side just not to see anyone to distract. It's a little because competitive shooting is more about concentration, and the biathlon is more about running.
Right, but so you've done the competitive bullseye with the blinders, and do you use diopters as well?
Yes, the competitive shooters also use diopters. We did not use blinders because in my time, that did not consider to be, it is not allowed during the competition. You can have it during the training, but not during the competition. So for us, it was principle of train how you're going to shoot, how you're going to compete. So because it's all about repetition, and a bullseye shooter, it's all about repetition. It's all slow down, all repetition. It's a long story about how the shooter's preparing. At least in my time, I'm pretty much
Mm-hmm.
sure right now everything is different. I'm talking about late 80s, like early 90s. Although the technical aspect remains the same, and the rules, I don't think rules change much. They do adjust rules. And the rifles, what we use, it's 5-round magazine fed or single shot. The single shot is preferable because all magazine affecting rifles. That coming back to your trying different ammo. And I don't want to say, I don't want to be rude, but everything what you did, what you could do wrong, you did do wrong. So again, nobody asking to really do scientific tryout, but to give you an idea, for professional either rifle or ammunition trial, the rifles what they use,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically permanently installed in a bench. Because movement of the rifle, even though you think you put exactly sight on the target, exactly this, it's never exact. The rifle was attached to the table. It's usually attached with the belts, with the lever systems, and it's weighted a ton. Some of them actually make it stock out of concrete, just to be sure there's no movement. So
Yeah,
shooting offhand guarantee you that you cannot repeat 2 shots in a row.
fair
So
enough.
also,
Yeah.
right. Also, I also have a Ruger 22, and I strongly think that Ruger 22 need to be first rifle to anyone who ever want to try to shoot. It's a perfect rifle as it is. It's not a competitive rifle of any kind of sense of form. Shorter barrel, thinner barrel.
Thinner
All about
barrel. Hmm.
definitely thinner barrel, and definitely shorter barrel. Talking about seasoning,
Mm-hmm.
it's not. It's a funny word, seasoning, because you season what? You season rifle, you season bullet. What are you seasoning? It's not really seasoning, because when you clean the rifle,
Yeah.
the residue remains on the groove, which is basically makes first shot, sometimes second shot, smoother, faster than a fouling shot, because you still have a solvent inside, presumably gun oil, right?
Mm-hmm.
So first shot after cleaning rifle, its guarantee is not any kind of subsequential shots. So yes, that's what some people call in America seasoning. Doesn't call this way, but it's okay. You can call it anyhow you want. But yes, first shot is usually different, usually faster. If you put the chronograph,
Mm-hmm.
it's always a little bit faster than the subsequent shots. So coming back to 22, am I jumping? Or,
No, that's good. What do have a question? What what was the term in Russia for shooting
basic,
or seasoning?
basically, translation is going to be dirty up your barrel.
Okay.
So because you literally dirty up the 22 very dirty rounds.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
a leaded bullets, right? So it's no copper rounds, no nothing. So it's dirty as it goes, and it's usually manufactured covering them with something to prevent any kind of, not really rust, but any kind of attachment. So if you take a round 22 and you put it in your fingers, you end up with some little bit residue in your fingers.
Yeah.
That's not for nothing. Competition, they using more precise shots. And let me go back to round itself. If you imagine round, it's not a center fire round. So basically, based on the round, it's an all ignition system. So it doesn't matter where the strikes on the left side, right side, up and down, it's going to ignite. That's also create the problem, because basically, while exploding, the powder inside the round start to burn from sides. That's one of the micro reason why 22 inherently not very precise. So in order to do that, you have to be sure when you put the powder in a round, actually manufactured, because you basically cannot do yourself 22. Maybe you can. They do pressure pressing on the powder in order to powder sits in the round more stable. If you take a round, cheap round, and you rattle it, you can hear a powder inside.
Yeah.
Sure. If you take expensive competition round, usually you don't hear it, because they do packing so tight that on the base on the round, it's always contact with the powder. So it's more theoretical than practical, because you cannot really register with your ear or eye, but that's what we were told, that the competition round packed differently. Plus, the problem with these rounds, the casing is extremely thin, and it's always problem with production of thin casings. So the 22 can be really damaged very easily, and most of the times you cannot even see it with your eyes. That's why competitors, they would not shoot old rounds, because with time, temperature expand or subtract the casings and geometry.
I
so
see.
I'm talking about not talking professionals, people who compete in Olympic sport. They would never pull up, I have a box of rounds from 1986. I'll shoot. They're still okay.
Yeah.
They would never do that. They would never, ever do it. They actually going to shoot the same rounds from the same box, from the same production line. And in my time, I remember was talking about 1 year. So in the practice, you can use like anything what you have. In a competition, you would never use rounds older than 1 year.
Oh, okay.
Again, some people was telling me that because, production back then was not as pure as right now, and so on and so forth. People who perform in sports, they usually very much believe in any kind of mystical things that helping them. They would wear the same socks.
Right, superstitions.
They would using lucky whatever. So in my time, shooters, first of all, they would never give you touch the jacket. Every shooter has their own jacket. It made a thick pig skin to prevent heartbeat to go to the rifle. So you shoot in the glove, thick leather or like a mitten type of glove, and you shoot in a very heavy leather jacket. Heartbeat and the pulse.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
I used to love to drink coffee. I was not allowed to drink tea at least 3 days before competition.
3 days, wow. 3 days.
Because coffee and tea, presumably they agitate your heart for a very short period of time, but the heart does not go back to normal. I don't know if that's a part of true or not, but we were not allowed.
Were you allowed to have sex before a competition?
At my age, I wish. I wish I would give everything. No. That was not a big problem in my environment. But yes. So we were competing with the two types of rifle. Anybody who knows Russian Soviet rifle or can Google it, it's called SM2 or Ural.
Okay.
So that's the two main rifle that most athletes compete in the bullseye competitions.
Now, were those made in the Russian part of the Soviet Union, or were they made in Czechoslovakia?
No, it's all Soviet parts.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all Soviet rifle. The best rifle right now, I think, for you know what? No, because right now I think they allowed even to do custom rifles within specification.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the days, no customization was allowed at all, except for pistol shooters. The pistols actually would come with a wooden block instead of grip, and every competitor have to do the grip for the personal hand.
Oh, so you had to cut your own grip?
Yes.
Wow. I know that, they all make custom grips. I didn't realize you had to make
Yeah.
your own. That's pretty cool.
Remember we're talking about 90s, right? So
Mhm.
the best technology where it was roughly shaped as a grip. It's like very big and bulky, just piece of wood with like little shape of handle. So basically you slowly under supervision would do that. We had some specialists who would do it for you, but you still have to be there to keep grabbing, and they would keep absorbing, and they would actually dirty up your hand with like ashes
Mm-hmm.
in order to grip and see your print on the grip, and you do like multiple times. You wash your hand, you apply again. It's a very long process, but then you have your grip, and it sits in your hand like supposed to be. I did not like shooting pistol because my club had a both pistol and a rifle.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like shoot pistol because they had to train like at least half of their time just holding up heavy stuff in the hand and
Oh.
mimicking shooting, because you basically pull up the pistol and you're lowering slowly until the target, and a split second, you find the target, you shoot, and you lower it back, and it goes back and forth. So the most common item what they would do it with would be iron, like an old school iron,
Yeah.
like a heavy duty iron, and they would put up and down, up and down. So we would shoot all the time, and they would do this up and down. It wasn't me. I would shoot.
I hear you. The club that I'm in, all the older guys are trying to talk me into doing pistol bullseye, but yeah, the work is very slow and tedious, and I just feel totally outclassed because like as you're saying, your custom grips, these guys have really tricked out pistols that are a couple grand, and here I am shooting a shooting a well, it's a 1911 with a conversion slide, but it's totally not on the same level.
That is the same level. We live kind of sort of in a golden age of firearms, where the technology is caught up with demands, and you can, if you have money, you can do a lot of things with your firearms. And usually right now, most of the firearms out of the box outshoot you as a normal person. So even high-level guys, they trick in the guns, but the gun potentially can outshoot most of the people. And a good gun, it just gives you, a way to train yourself and to try to achieve a potential level. It's very few instances when firearm is not up to shooter standards, unless you like shoot, I don't know,
Mhm.
or let me say Glock. Oops. Sorry, Glock people. But anyways, yes. So that would consider to be that we're talking about 22. If you planning to repeat your shooting with 22,
Yes.
the thing what I recommend, obviously you cannot change the rifle because rifle is what you have. At least try to stabilize. And stabilization goes in all direction. And basically you can see when you show the video of you shooting, each shot, your rifle goes like off and you have to readjust it.
Yeah.
That tells you you can never repeat the shot. All about repetition. Remember, you're trying to do consistency. It's not about your aim, it's about the repetition. You can aim and be off center of the target, it's no problem, as long as come together. It gives you an idea that with a good ammo and a good rifle, they either touching each other holes or almost touching each other. On Olympic level, in my time in 90s, holes are basically always touching each other. It was an old question, how much they're touching each other. Are they all 5 holes going on top of each other or like in one hole? So it was I never achieved the level, but some people would do just one hole with 4 rounds, and 5th round would be like, 1/5 sticking out. So that was considered to be like a high class.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Giving you the idea. And a rifle makes a huge difference. So the different rifle bolt action would make much better. The older mechanism inside your rifle would going around. It's not only 22, like any semi-automatic rifle. They would not allow you to repeat your shot 100%. So all the semi-automatic considers to be, I believe, like 75% repeatable. So just imagine out of 10 rounds, 7 rounds, maybe, I don't want to say identical, but close to identical, and 3 would be absolutely 100%, not even close to that. So when you shoot center fire and you shoot like, 308 or like large or 5.56, it's not really makes a difference because, group 1 MOA considered to be great group for this rifle. 1 MOA for Olympic competition would be horrible rifle, garbage.
That's a big difference. Now, you've actually shot. Have you actually shot like an SVD?
Yes, that's what primary.
What was the MOA, or at least your expected accuracy with that?
We did not have MOA. Right now, standards changed, and people comparing military weapons to sport weapons. My gun can shoot half MOA 100 yards. Great. Can I drag your gun behind a tank through the right? So it's apples and oranges, and even worse, it's apples and potatoes, right? So apples are great, but good luck living in the apples for 5 years. And you can't live in potatoes for 5 years. People live all their life in potatoes and never had an apple their life. I know opposite. I never heard about the opposite, but maybe. So we did not measure MOAs. We measure basically humanoid target in certain distances. And you have 3 types of target. You have a human, which is 1.7 meters. You have what you call a machine gunner, which is like half of the person or lower, or you can have just a head. But head is never priority, because Army does not operate on a magical thing, just right between the eye, right here, like 1 shot, 1 kill.
Oh, shoot him in the leg.
Right. It's all great on the posters. It looked great in the posters. Like Travis said, he carried 50 for how long and he shot how far. That's Army. That is military service. That's Marines, that Air Force, that whatever. You always have capability and you train to capability, but you rarely use capability, use ability. If your weapon able to reach someone 800 yards, great. How often you're going to have 800 yard shot? Probably never. But you train for 800, that's why 500 or 300 or 200, it's coming more naturally, easier on you. So my service rifle SVD is not what we consider right now sniper rifle, but it is sniper rifle. So anything what you snipe, what does snipe means? Snipe is a little bird, right?
Yeah.
Little bird in England. So sniper is a hunter who can kill the bird, and they was not flying 800 yards from you, right? So basically, all this discussion, who is sniper, who is DMR, who is something else, that's great. But you know what? Guy who can shoot with a pistol 25 yards compared to guy who cannot shoot 800 yards, the guy is still a sniper.
True.
So but again, it's all the theoretical discussion. So today, our best cars is this. In the 10 years, we're going to be laughing on our cars, right? Like we're laughing on a 1950s car. Like,
Yeah.
but it was business, right? Back then. So it's like, oh my God. Remember who was that German, one of the first German race driver who said, I just experienced something that I don't think, I'm rephrasing, that nobody else going to experience. I went to this with the speed that nobody else would ever travel. We're talking about 40 miles an hour. That was like in a 1908, 1906.
Yeah.
He was driving 40 miles per hour, and he said, nobody ever going to drive with the speed. So it's all comparative, right? So my rifle, I was very lucky, had a good rifle, because in any service in any country, you hear about wonderful guns and the horrible guns that people get with the bent barrels and like a bunch of funny story about scopes and stuff. I haven't seen great optics basically until maybe like 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, because I never had any great optics in need, and I still have my Soviet scope, but designed
right.
too. So for me, it was great scope, but useful, and I liked it. I even use an airsoft. It's great. But then, first time I looked at like a Chinese airsoft version of some other scope, like holy guacamole! It would cost $40, made in China out of the pocket metal. It's like
it's still a clearer picture.
Clearer, wider, brighter picture. What the hell? But again,
where have you been all my life?
Exactly. But you know what? You take the scope and you're dropping from what I drop my scope, and we'll see the result.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty much sure right now, 99% of the optics on market better than what I use in my time, but it served the purpose. It's worked great. And actually, not to be funny, it was user-friendly and probably remains user-friendlier than absolute majority of the scopes right now.
Plus, and when we're dead and gone, and your great grandkids or what our great grandkids are using that, it'll still work.
It'll still work.
Yeah.
And I can train rudimentary shooting person behind the scope in a matter of an hour, without going to formulas, without going to calculation. Everything, if you can imagine S3D scope, it's right there, right.
Yeah, with the diagrams.
It's made for a person without high education at all. So you just put the object inside and you got your distance. It's not precise, it's not exact, but you're going to be right there.
It's good enough.
Yeah, it's good enough. So again, coming back to sniping, it's always, when you're talking to Americans, and they always asking, hey, were you a sniper in the Russian army? Like, yes. Oh, what do you, like half MOA, one MOA, something like? I had no idea about MOA until I came to the United States.
Well, that's why when we're, I think Travis and I even mentioned that when we're doing these tests. I know I get a lot of grief from precision shooters saying, all the things and of course, even more than you mentioned about all the things that I was doing wrong. And it all comes to, well, it's good enough it's minute of squirrel. It's good enough for, for shooting at the range at these 6-inch targets, and not like those guys who can get all 10 rounds inside the same hole, which is great. I think that's awesome, but there's no way I will ever be able to accomplish that with a 1022. But it is what it is. Oh wait, we've lost you, Sasha.
Hold on. Yeah, for some reason my thing was not charging. My pad was not charging. I don't know why. Let me try to reestablish it. It was charging a minute ago.
Oh, well, if in case we lose you, I just wanted to say thank you for coming in on this. These stories were great. And I will bear in mind as soon as I can to try to stabilize that. But to be honest, I don't, in the current setup of the range that I'm being allowed to shoot at, there's almost no way, because we're not allowed to shoot at the regular benches right now for a bunch of different reasons. And so we have to actually just take folding tables and put it up somewhere. But even that, I would love to vice the thing down and do the tests like that. But given what I have, I think it's at least a step up from just really truly free shooting it and seeing how that ammo worked.
If I can recommend, usual ranges has a sandbags to give people to shoot from. Get as many as you can, put on top of the table. Take some kind of belts or some straps, attach the rifle to your table as much as you can, and weight it all down. So with a 22, it could help enormously. You might not see, after you sight it first time, you might not see subsequent shots, but it could be better than just, jumping around.
Okay.
Would it work? I don't know, but, I'm rooting
I'll give it a shot. Yeah.
I'm rooting for you, that's for sure.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this chat I had with Sasha. And if you enjoyed watching this, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. And we'll see you out there. You be safe. Moondog out.
Bye.